remember when I first started out, I started at the PWI, I was a student athlete there. And because I was an athlete, you had the confidence already. So I said I wanted to be in this business. I finished up my 4 years of playing. I still had a year to graduate. My coach was the AD at the time, so he hears it a lot. People say, "Yeah, I want to stick around. I want to do this, blah, blah, blah." So he said, okay. He was from Missouri, not really from Missouri, but he was from the Show Me State. So you show me what you're working with. Show me what you got. And I did. And I ran around every place. I learned. I was in the training room. I was in the equipment room. I was on the finance room. I was at compliance. I was in administration. I was in budget. I just learned. I just wanted to soak it up to see if this is something I could do. They rewarded me with a job. I remember my first job, $15,000. My first job as assistant athletic director for academic success as an advisor. And I was the richest guy in the world. $15,000 in 1982. You couldn't tell me a thing.
He's telling his age now. He said 1982.
1982 when I got that first job. And I remember when I went on my first meeting, when I became assistant AD, he sent me out to this convention. And I walked into the room, TP. And you know when the music is playing in the movie, you open the door.
You know, like everything stops. And all attention is on you.
You looking at them, and they looking at you. Those old white
and they looking like, who is this?
What you doing here,
right.
boy?
You're in the wrong place.
You're in the wrong store. But that was a learning point for me because I said, they're not going to tell me my worth. They're not going to tell me that I couldn't do this. And when I sat down and I started listening to them, I'm just as smart as these cats. I had a better 10 than they did, and that's it. And from that point on, you couldn't tell me anything. But I always wanted to emulate success. So I hitched my wagon up. If somebody was messing up and going that way, Clyde Doughty ain't going that way. He's going this way. Life is a Y. You go down the stem of the Y till you get to the V. And that V, you go this way or you go that way. And based upon your lived experience, you got to make a decision. Why am I go this way and why am I not going that way? And then when you go down it starts all over again. That Y keeps going and spreading, and that's your decision-making process. So I was not going to let anybody determine my worth. I had to do that for myself. And I was able to have that confidence, and people then surrounded me with, they should see your progress. And like the young man I talked about at the Ravens Stadium, when he ran up on me, I put my arms around him because I was proud of him. I just had another young man who graduated and finished his master's in ROTC, play on our club lacrosse team. I'm so freaking proud of him, man. I put my arms around. He looks different. He sounds different. He just looks the part now. And that's what you want to see. A young freshman comes in here tentative, doesn't know his right from his left, back from forward. But now they understand they're standing firm in their shoes right now because they have got the foundation. Because I tell people, like I was telling a young man today, I ain't never seen a house that starts with the roof. I ain't never seen a foundation start with the roof. Yeah. You got to start with the foundation. You got to build it up. And you got to walk them steps until you get to the roof. And that's the point of self-actualization. As the Maslow's pyramid, as you go up, you got to have all of those things in place before you can get to the top.
This is cool, Mac.
In the house.
Cool, Mac. So when we talk about we transition over to athletics, and we talk about the success that the athletic department has had. Tennis and bowling did very well last year as well. The track team, basketball didn't go as we planned. Football didn't go as we planned. But it's all a process, and they have some good pieces, some foundational pieces that they can build on. When you talk about from your position and being the AD, can you talk about some of the challenges that you may go through from perspective of your duties?
Well, first of all, we might lose a game or two, but Bowie State University is never, ever defeated.
No, not at all.
Never defeated. So we march on. And we go in there with the greatest anticipation of being successful. The outcomes might not be what we want them at times, but we leave pridefully. We go back to the drawing board and make it work. So what's happening on our scale? We talked about earlier the trickle effect of the COVID. The inflation has hit us badly. I mean, prices just skyrocketed with travel, which is your hotels and eating, apparel is going off the roof. Our budgets. Bowie State University is a state entity. People don't realize that we're an auxiliary part of the university system, which auxiliary gets no state dollars. Our funding is based upon fees from the student body. So every year I got to go in front of the student body. And I thought I had a nice little chunk of change next year, but for this year to help support the needs that we just mentioned about the inflation needs. But the governor awarded a cost of living across the board and a merit raise, which on the state side, they fund that. On our side, I had to find the money for it. So it cut into my budget. So having said that, we're trying to do more things outside of the fees, the revenue, which is 99.9% comes from the student fees. We're trying to do more things. Gifts like we had from Mama Durant and the Durant Family Foundation to improve our gymnasium, it's a godsend. I mean, those kind of gifts, but we need something that's sustainable every year to support scholarships, first of all, which we can go out and recruit players in state. We want to keep those young men and women in state who want to stay in state. We want to go out of state and bring some of those quality athletes into the area, because when you come into this area, it's a beautiful area to
Absolutely.
You know, you got DC 20 minutes up the road, you got Baltimore 30, 35 minutes that way, you got Annapolis, the capital,
but it's a beautiful campus.
Beautiful campus. And when you get on, that's what I like. That's what I try to do as much in the way of bringing programs and young people on campus, because when they get on campus, they be like, wow. There used to be a time when you couldn't see anything on 97 until they built the ELLC building, the Entrepreneurial Learning Center up top. And people said, oh, I didn't know Bowie was back there. You know, they just see a road going up the street with a sign. They didn't know it was back there. But now Dr. Bro's vision is that we need to put us out on that 187, because I think, don't trust me, but there's like 50, 100, just so many cars pass by there every single day. And now people, when I mention Bowie, say, yeah, I see a new building there. I see you're on campus. So sometimes now people will drive up in here and just drive around. Wow, just the diversity we've had at opening up our pool. Dr. Bro's vision. We're going to put that pool in place. We want to learn, we want our young men and women to learn how to swim. We want to have programs, but it also diversified us up because folks who are swimmers in the neighborhood now come on campus and they go, wow, this is a great place. They're walking around. Nobody bothers them. They're having a great freaking time. I sit out there and talk to the mothers and the fathers. It's a wonderful opportunity. So athletically, yeah, we've had our good run. 3-time football championship, 5 times in a row bowling championship. The softball team won the championship last year. Tennis has went to the championship 2 years ago. I mean, the track team is getting themselves back together. We've had a couple of cross-country runners to do very well. The basketball teams early on, they were doing well. They've had a couple of off years this last couple of years, but they're right in the thick of things. We participate in one of the best athletic conferences, Division II in the country. You can't want from better than CIAA, especially when you get down to the basketball tournament. Come on,
Absolutely.
you know, there's nothing like the CIAA tournament for homecoming of black folk to get together, to enjoy themselves. And we still get folks who are from the schools that aren't participating in the Norfolks and the Hamptons and all that. When they used to be the CIAA, they still associate with the CIAA, which is a great thing. And they enjoy the tournament, they enjoy the festivities, they enjoy the commonality. It's a homecoming. I get to see my family. And this is a family. It's the CIAA family. It's the legacy. So all of those things make us who we are. And we're trying to put our arms around all of these things and provide better resources. You talked about the look. We want to make sure our athletes look the part. So when you look the part, you feel the part, you produce also too.
But they say you look good, you play good.
I tell people right now, people come to me and say, look, you look good. I said, look, I ain't got it, but I got to look like I got it. I got to look like I got it. So I'm trying the best. I'm trying to get our athletes in a space where they feel good about themselves, and it's going to take some resources. And I think working with our Vice President for Philanthropic Engagement, Mr. Vice President Brent Swinton and his team, we're doing a better job of cultivating relationships out here so people are starting to buy in. We got to tell our stories. HBCUs got to tell our own story. Devices like you're using right now allow us to do that, where we used to have to rely upon newspapers that didn't want to cover us only when there's something wrong. We had to rely on the media and TV only when they felt that they wanted or they had nothing else to do.
But not only that, though, the narrative, they weren't telling the narrative to in good faith of the university. They're telling a narrative of someone who's not affiliated, doesn't really have an idea of the ins and outs of the schools. And that's where I believe a lot of the miscommunication, the misconceptions, everything about HBCUs come from. And we spoke briefly about that too at the CBC, because one of the things that you touched on that I'm glad you brought back up is the ideal of when people ride past Bowie State and they see the new buildings and they like, smell like money. But as he said, Bowie State is a state university, which means the athletic department being an auxiliary, they are not awarded any of that money that goes to the university. That's educational. So when people like Ms. Durant, the Durant family, it has to be a direct give to the athletic department. Mm-hmm. So just because the university receives money does not mean it trickles down to the athletic department. In order for the athletic department to receive funding, it has to be directly stated that this is for the athletic department or this is for the basketball team or whichever it is, but it has to be specifically said. Is that correct?
That's definitely correct. And you look at things like the coalition fund that just got approved or a couple years ago, where all this money that was neglectfully not given to HBCUs over a period of time from an academic perspective flowed to the school. People just see that big dollar sign and say, oh man, they're rich already. But that's not the case over a period of time, one thing. Also, too, that money is directed towards academics. Nobody else can get that money. So it's going to help us in one breath, but it doesn't help us in other things we need. So we still got facility. We got deferred maintenance problems we have around here. We got aging buildings. We're putting up new buildings, but we still got our old buildings around here. And they need work and upkeep. This isn't old. This building's been around since 1975. So it's built well, but the configuration and you need new boilers and new this and the roof goes, and so you got to find money to do all those things with. So those are the things we want: sustainable income, and want somebody to join with us. My goal right now, or this athletic department, the gym is looking really fabulous with the new seats and the new floor that Kevin Durant was putting in. We did some things in our press box. We're going to do some things with branding around also too, with some of the funds that are coming in. We need a new football stadium.
Absolutely.
If I have my druthers, if I am successful, and not to say that we haven't been successful at this point, but I want to build a 15,000 seat football stadium with all the bells and whistles down there. And so it would be attractive. Because sometimes you don't need all the scholarship dollars. People will pay in a little bit and say, this is where I want to play.
Absolutely.
I like it here, so I'll spend a little money. I'll take out a loan or two to, I get my parents to cough up some guitars to come into this, because this is a nice place for me to be. But if you don't have nothing to offer, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You got to give them something to get, something. So we are in that space where that's my goal. Working with, like I said, VP Swinton and his team, and working with some consultants. We're trying to put them things together. I think the message, like you said, we have to get folks to understand that we're self-sufficient. We don't get funding from the state. We have to raise every dollar. It's got to be direct and specific towards athletics. Even if you say, look, like the Durant, that gift was for the gym. That's fine. That's money that I don't have to take and try to find to enhance the gym. So now that's out the way. We can have a better situation, better seating. We can make more revenue from these quality seats we put in here. Mm-hmm. It enhanced. We had 2,200 seats. We added another 100 seats to it. So we have 2,300 seats in our AC Jordan Arena with the Kevin Durant floor. Kevin was on the floor working out with his AAU team this summer. It was a wonderful opportunity to have him. He's a wonderful young man. It's a blessing, being here in Prince George's County and giving back to where he used to play here on this floor growing up.
And the key word too is that Kevin Durant did not go to an HBCU. He went to Texas. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he, not being a product of an HBCU, still have HBCU love, and he understands the importance of historically Black colleges and universities as well.
Well, that's critical because his mother, and she's a preacher, and you can hear Dr. Mama Durant speak, and she understands the value. Yeah, her son went to a high functioning school because he went to the next level. And you couldn't get that here right now, and we're blessed. But then he understands the value of growing up and playing in these neighborhoods. And a lot of kids aren't going to, we don't have a lot of Kevin Durant. talents. They're one in a million, and they come along. How many people are playing pro ball like him? The size and the skills that he has, but he understands consistent. But he understands that sports is a prelim to your development to get you through something. Look, I played basketball all over New York City. I knew I wasn't going to be no pro, but I needed enough resources or scholarship dollars so my mother didn't have to pay for me to get an education.
Absolutely.
That was my goal, and and I walked away from school with no loans and everything, based upon my athletic ability and based upon people believing in me that I could do this, play this sport, and get an education. And to walk away after 4 years or 5 years without education, to me, you've wasted time that you can't get back. So that's another piece I tried to get across to these young men and women. Time is something you can't get back. I can get another shirt, I can get another suit, get another car, get another girlfriend. People get more wives, but you can't get time back.
Absolutely.
You're only going to be, like a young man was talking to me today. He comes by and talks to me all the time. A young man who's on our lacrosse team, who started out as a walk-on, and I was so proud of him too. He started out, came in, wanted to play football, wasn't really ready to compete at that level, but he was consistent, talking to the coaches. Now he made the practice squad. So he was so happy. He's made the practice squad. He's getting bigger. He's ready defensive end. He's so happy. And that's the whole thing. You see these people germinate. You look at grass. Grass starts below the ground.
Yeah.
You can't see it. You plant a seed, but every year you water it, it comes back.
And that's the blessing of a lot of things, And when we talk about financials for the athletic department, and we talk about planting seeds, I look at this as planting seeds because the message is, even if you didn't attend an HBCU, you can still donate to an HBCU near you. There's always a need, and it only takes one person to plant the seed, and it only takes another person to come by and water it, right? So when we talk about the seed planting, then my next year I wanted to shift to was alumni. My plea to alumni: give back to your universities. Even if it's $1, every dollar adds up. If every HBCU graduate gave $1, we'd be a whole lot more in the positive than we were the day before. So it's not like there's an ask for your life savings. It's an ask for a contribution, a love contribution. Because, like you said, at the end of the day, the reason why it helps is because a lot of those schools that we talk about, the funding that they get, they're able to put into their universities to make their stadiums bigger, so it's more attractive. And understanding something that you said, that when it's attractive, players are drawn to attraction, regardless of what level it's at. They're drawn to that attraction. So Bowie State deserves that attraction as well, because they have not only proved it athletically, but academically as well.
We live in a very visual world. I mean, because of social media, you can see everything. Everything is instantaneous. It's not like you're not going to take a picture and it's got to be in a newspaper and you got to read a story and then it gets out west 10 days later. Everything is this live. It's right then and there. It's in their hand. It's viable. These ain't a phone no more. It's a mini computer, man. It's no phone. Phone is the least of it right now.
Right.
Games and this and information. So yeah, they want to be in a space where they can say that I went to school there. Why do you think all those people go to these football games? There's 80,000, 100,000 people in a football game. They're jumping up and down because I was in the stadium jumping up and down for my school. And we want to have that same type of feeling right here at Bowie State University. So the funds we try to achieve through the alumni. Now I want to talk about our alumni here. They're great. We got a lot of old alumni who are very proud of this university. And they have made me understand the value of what they went through. When it was a normal school, when it was Bowie State College, when it became Bowie State University, how they've seen you come back on campus, that people that haven't been here in years, and they go, man, this place is totally different, man. And they take a real big pride in it. It's something we have to teach, and this is what VP Swin has taught me, and you mentioned it. It's not how much you give, it's how often you give.
Yes.
It could be $1, $5, and that helps our contribution rate. When we talk about these people, how many people are contributing, we have to teach people how to give. You don't have, if I say I need $1,000, you don't have to give me $1,000 right there. You give me $100 a month. You spend more than that at Jack in the Box or Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
So you're just shifting how you spend money if that's where you want to be. And every dollar that we get athletically, I want to show people where it went to. Like this room before you came in, it didn't look like this. But whatever, I don't even say dollar, whatever penny I get,
Yeah.
I'm going to utilize it to the best of its ability to make sure that it gets the outcomes. First of all, people talk about ROI, return on investment. Before I get to an ROI, I need a ROE. I need a return on effort. What is my return on effort to get me a return on investment? So talking to people, getting out with these alumni chapters, getting them on campus. We got some great alumni chapters, some great folks who are really stepping up and trying to help this university, and we're very proudful that I'm working on my dissertation, trying to become a Bowie Bulldog myself in my doctorate program. It's just a lot of work, but well, thank you. I got to this point, man. So hopefully I'll finish and go across that finish line.
You will. You speak everything into existence.
I'm trying, yes, and I hope from your ears, from your mouth to God's ears, and He's looking down on me. Said, "You can do this, boy." He smacked me in the back of my head. Come on, boy.
It's yours. It is yours. I want to say to the alumni that I know, I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of alumni, including the tailgate squad, Teese and Gene and Cole. Want to reach out and want to come up with an idea of ways that we can really advocate and really get a continuous, a committed, a dedicated, and effort in how we can help raise money for the athletic department. Because it's deserving. Like when you talk about the campus and you talk about when you walk on campus, when I was here in 2000, granted, I didn't get to finish because I was in my own way. And I can say that now. I wasn't big enough to admit that before. I was in my own way. I couldn't play baseball no more because, the program got cut. So for me, sports was my driving effort for education. I did what I needed to do because I always wanted to be on the field, which was backwards. So when you talk about it, I love your passion about it because it's something that I wish that I did the opposite of. I'm grateful for where I am now. God doesn't make a mistake because even though I may not have graduated here, my love and passion for Bowie State has never wavered. So when I come on campus, because I was in Towers, we used to be able to drive down that street to unload. So now, and Haley was a brand new building my freshman year. So just to look at the campus now, I'm talking about, it is marvelous. It is absolutely marvelous. And any students out there who are looking for a university, educational institution first, Bowie State is it for you. You have the resources. It is community driven. You have, Zion. I see Pastor Battle down at the practice field sometimes watching the football team. I know that they have contributed lunches and stuff during summers. Like, it's a community environment. It's a community university. The pool is open to the public on certain days.
Every morning.
So it's like it's not just for the students. It is for you as well. So I implore everyone. I implore you to look deeper into your level of understanding of HBCUs and step out on, like they say in church, step out on faith, understanding that these kids need it, they deserve it. Your children or grandchildren, you will want someone to do it, for a loved one of yours. So why not be a blessing to someone else? It's always real, man. Reverend Pitch right here, y'all. Y'all hear it? This from the pulpit up in here. Like, it's always love. This is going to be this is not the last, like I said, we are going to be doing a lot of coverage within Bowie TV Sports on Bowie State University. And I wanted to start first with Mr. Doughty Jr. first as the athletic director. But coming soon is going to be, you're going to get interviews with all of the coaches from every different team and also players alike. It's just the beginning, but we definitely want to try to get this thing rolling in the support of Bowie State HBCUs when it comes to making sure that we are supplying the demand and the needs for our student athletes. Hey, when you get to an end, you got to start at the beginning. And when you get to that end, it's the new beginning. You got to start all over again. So that's where we're going. So this is Pitch and Push, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. This is Bowie State University, Bowie Bold, and Bulldog Strong. And don't you ever forget that. It's your boy Pitts and Foot Sports Talk Radio. You heard the man. Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live. Thank you for joining us.
We out.